Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Ward. The Hawks season just finished last week, and we already have a John Collins trade rumor. Shocker. They've been going on for 4 years. Collins is coming off the worst season of his career. The Hawks will surely evaluate all their options. So this is the first of many. But Alex, you wrote about this topic, so give us a breakdown of what this writer, I think it was from heavy.com, said about John Collins and the Brooklyn Nets, who have previously been linked to Collins in previous trade deadlines and off seasons and stuff. Yeah. Tell us what he said about it.
Yeah, even before the Nets blew it up and traded Irving and Durant, they were interested in John Collins. And this report comes from Sean Devaney of Heavy Sports. And he's basically speaking from the point of view of an anonymous NBA executive, and basically says they're still curious about it, more than just a Ben Simmons kind of deal, which was what everybody thought it would be, because they're still trying to get off that contract. It's the worst contract in sports because the guy can't even play. He can't even make it on the court. He played in like 40 games this past season, I think. Basically, the executive says that the Nets are still curious about it, about the trade, because they like John Collins as a player and as a person. But he went further to be like, it probably wouldn't work straight up, even after suggesting it. And if you're Brooklyn, you're going to have to give up Dorian Finney-Smith or Royce O'Neal and take back Bogey's deal, which we know he just signed that extension this past summer. So the trade, machine would basically look like John Collins and Bogey going to New York or going to Brooklyn for Ben Simmons and one of Royce O'Neal or Dorian Finney-Smith is what he's suggesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ben Simmons is kind of a wild card in any trade scenario. Obviously, he's probably the worst contract in basketball, most untradeable contract in basketball. But I don't think there's any questions about his talent, or maybe there is now. When you look at potential, the problem I have with this, even if you want to bet on Ben Simmons' potential in this deal, because that is really what you're doing. Because if you're just taking on $75 million of dead money over the next 2 years, which is what he has left on his contract, you're basically punting the next 2 seasons. So you're betting on Ben Simmons to be something that John Collins hasn't been on this team. And you're trading away Bogey too when you already have trouble shooting threes. I think that's where I'm like what are we going to do? The Hawks are going to just play 2-point basketball. We're going to remove the 3-point line. Like, I love Trae Young, but he's not a great 3-point shooter. He's actually below average, especially for the volume he shoots. Sadiq, I mean, it's just there's no shooters on this team as is. So trading away Bogey almost seems like, especially after you just extended him, seems like there's no way they will do that. They obviously like Bogey. They value what he brings to the table. Quinn Snyder wants to shoot as many threes as anybody in basketball. So getting Ben Simmons for John Collins doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. The one thing I will say about Simmons is you're probably going to play him at the 4 if he comes here. And as I said, the ball stopping has to stop in Atlanta. No pun intended. It has to stop. So John Collins and Clint Capella are 2 ball stoppers down low. Getting a guy like Ben Simmons down low who can cut to the basket and using him as like another facilitator does kind of interest me. But I think it all comes down to Quinn Snyder. Like, Quinn Snyder is an offensive maestro. If he thinks he can get something out of a talent like Ben Simmons and get his confidence up, that could be a coach thing. That intrigues me. But I don't believe that he will. Like, I don't know if any coach, no matter how big of an ego they have, can think they can save Ben Simmons right now, because I don't know if he is savable.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and it would be different if Ben Simmons had been playing this whole season. Like, if he was putting up, meager numbers, say he was averaging 12, 8, 6, 12, 8, and 8, whatever, I would be much more open to this. But are we even sure this guy's going to play basketball anymore? I mean, it's starting to become a real question. And that's probably something that moving to another city is not going to fix, because it hasn't fixed it so far. I think the guy has some serious mental blocks, and I'm not gonna rag on him for that. I feel like he's gotten enough of that. But when you talk about it in a business sense, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But they are owed roughly about the same amount of money, but Simmons' deal is shorter. Dorian Finney-Smith is also owed a lot less money than Bogey. So my thing is if you do want to do something like this, you would have to have some other moves in place. If you're getting rid of that money, you got to use it somewhere else, because Dorian Finney-Smith probably has 2 years left. He has a player option he's probably going to pick up. But he could be a solid piece. He's decent. He'll play. Ben Simmons could play. And I don't think it would be the worst move in the world, but it would be a very, very, very risky move if you don't have anything else planned. And I think, Alex, you wrote this too. I think you have to come off Capella if you're going to do this and really make a big
without
change.
a doubt. That's not even a question. Like, Ben Simmons is basically gonna have to be your 5. Like, which intrigues me. Like, if you think he can play the 5 and play some good defense down low, I mean, this is like a defensive player of the year we're talking about when he's right. If you think he can do that and facilitate down low, and he's the only guy on the floor that can't shoot, that intrigues me. But you got a Kongwu that's probably going to step in as the starter, and I do think they move off Capella. None of it really makes a lot of sense to me in the matter that they can't shoot. Like, none of these guys can shoot, and then he might not even play. So you're taking a risk there. And how is the fit? We don't know if it fits, and we don't know if he'll play.
All right, I got some caffeine brain going, so I'm about to just throw up a bunch of information right now. First of all, in some pretend reality where you're the team with Ben Simmons and John Collins, John Collins is still a tradable asset. Despite coming off the worst season of his career, the guy loves playing basketball. He's a team guy. He's a great presence. Just like you said, Jake, are we sure Ben Simmons even wants to play basketball? Is he ever going to get on the court again? Who knows? I mean, coming from LSU, I can't stand the guy. He gives us such a bad name. He's, I'm not going to, shit on his mental side of the game, but this is not for the mentally weak. You got to be a dog out there. These are the alphas of alphas. And John Collins is going to come to battle. Like, we could say everything about his shot being broken and this and that, and he's a ball stopper. You never have to question his effort, ever. And aside from that, I am such a proponent of keeping John Collins. If we traded him, even outside of this Ben Simmons thing, it would be selling so low. And I get the fact that you get the money off the books, yada, yada, yada. But in my opinion, you saw what John Collins can be under Quinn Snyder in this Celtics series. He closed out several games with Clint on the bench and Onyeka Okongwu in the game. And John Collins surprisingly had a great series. Like, I think he had 27 in one of the, or 26 in one of the games. I'm not
game 5. I don't know.
I'm not saying that John Collins is an immovable asset, because he certainly is. But let's try and build up some worth back again. I mean, you just said it. If John Collins, or Quinn loves shooting threes, if John Collins can even shoot remotely what he was prior to this, whatever, this slump has been
his
2 seasons worth of slump.
His finger issue when he broke his hand.
Listen, but it still just makes no sense to take on the same amount of money. John Collins, like you said, John Collins and Ben Simmons are owed the same amount of money. It's just over different periods. John Collins is 3 years. Ben Simmons is 2 years. We're going to take on a Ben Simmons contract just for the fuck of it, basically, excuse my language. That's what this deal basically is. And I get the point of getting better at the point of attack defensively, and that's what Ben Simmons would bring over John Collins. But it makes no sense on any level to sell so low. If you were a team and you had, I'm going to reiterate what I just said. If you were a team in a make-believe world and you had Ben Simmons and John Collins and you were trying to move them, no team would take Ben Simmons, and there would be several teams who would be interested in John Collins purely off of the intangibles that John Collins brings to the team.
I'm glad you brought this up too, because I wanted to talk about this as well. If they really want John Collins that bad and they really want out Ben Simmons that bad, ask for Mikal Bridges. If the Hawks got to sweeten the pot a little bit more, that's something I'm definitely open to, because I think Mikal Bridges is one of the most underrated players in basketball. I don't think he's ever missed a start. He's a really solid shooter, 20-point per game scorer, great defender. That's a guy I'd be very interested in getting. And if it takes a couple picks and if it takes some young players,
there's no way they'd move him.
There's no way they'd trade him, but.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. If that's how bad you want it, though, we're talking about making a deal here. If we're talking a Colin Simmons swap, I'm not settling for Dorian Finney-Smith for Bogey. I want Bridges, and if it takes more than that, then I'm willing to do it.
I think we can all agree that Clint Capella is out of here. We're not paying $20 million to a guy who just plays defense and rebounds and is just a net negative in every aspect on offense except for dunking and playing at the rim. I mean, that's all he is. We can get that guy for $5 million.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. To me, the Ben Simmons for John Collins swap is something that just isn't going to happen. So if we revert back to the original question, buy or sell, I'm selling this 100%. I just don't like you said. I mean, and also Collins is an underrated defender. He's one of our better defenders. So yeah, Ben Simmons is definitely a better defender, but you're also losing one of your best defenders in the paint. So I don't see any way that happens. I'm actually fine with keeping Collins and seeing if he can break out of this and whatever. Because like you said, it's not going to get any worse. Like we've seen the worst of John Collins. And as far as like we talk about the Falcons, like taking the player or taking the person, not the player. I mean, if you want to talk about the person that John Collins is, he is everything that you want in a player, in a winning culture, in a winning organization. So I do think there is something to be said about sticking with him while he's down. And if he can figure it out, I think he can be a huge part to this team. And I think his role can be adjusted in Quinn Snyder's offense with personnel changes that better suits his game. And I think Snyder will be much more able to figure out how Collins can fit into this offense better than hope that Ben Simmons can play. Now, if we knew Ben Simmons could play, I think Snyder could fit a perfect role for Ben Simmons. I think he can figure that out perfectly. The fact is we don't know that. We know John Collins is going to show up to work every day. So it's much better to bet on that and see if you can figure things out. And if you think you need to trade him at the deadline, he's going to be better next year than he was this year. I can almost guarantee it. So I agree. I think you get Capella out there, you adjust Collins' role, and perhaps something can happen. Now, if the right deal comes up and you can move off of him without having to attach anything, you can just basically move off the salary and perhaps get a couple players that better fit the team, more power to you. But just giving up on him for a Ben Simmons who may not even play and basically punting the next 2 years just seems like something that's not even in the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, dude, the Nets are full snake oil salesman mode. Like they have got to convince some team to take Ben Simmons.